This is Randy from Bible Buying Guide. I have with me today a 120 from Church Bible Publishers, red letter. Now this is a reprint of the old Cambridge Cameo, and this one is in ironed calfskin. It has a synthetic liner. Ironed calfskin has a really nice grain to it. It looks really good. It's smooth, of course, because it's ironed. Little tooled ridges here, and it has perimeter stitching, which is important on an edge-lined cover because the liner is stitched into the edge, and there's the edge lining right there. You can see that with a vinyl liner here, and it has gold stamping. This done really well gold, and that it has art gilt edges, which we'll see here in just a minute. And then spine ribs, and this thing has it's pretty nice. It's got two good ribbons. It could be a little thinner than it is, I think, because this doesn't have a concordance. But the spine width is a little wider than it needs to be, if I can demonstrate that. And it looks like it has the appearance of being larger than it actually is. This is a light Bible. It's easy to handle, easy to carry. Hold it open, no trouble at all. Hold it in one hand. You can fold it around if you want to. It's up to you. I don't do that a whole lot. I like holding mine open like this. This is a really good Bible for carry. Now, as I said, this is a reprint of the old Cambridge Cameo wide margin edition. It's got several pages here in the front, thick pages that are good for notes or whatever, presentation pages, family records, and here is the title page. There is a 120 RL C1BK. It includes the epistle dedicatory, but it does not include translators to the reader. This paper is somewhere around the mid-30s in GSM. And there we go. Lays open fairly well. It'll take a little bit of breaking in. This tab is kind of thick, kind of stiff, but it will break in really well. I mean, that's much better than when I first got it out of the box. Black, good bold black text. This is a red letter edition. Around 40,000 cross-references, and it has the translator's footnotes. They are keyed to the text with letters and numbers. Letters for the references, numbers for the footnotes. Little Pilcrow for the paragraph markers. Really nice. This one does not include line matching, but this is an old style setting that was set by hand set typeface. So this is an oldie. Chapter, book name, chapter number right here. This is the chapter that starts on this page. And we have two page summaries, one for each column. The references are near the verses they go to. So, like it might say A over here and B over here, C, D. That way, the references are next to the verses. I like that because it's easier to find them. And, of course, what you'll notice right off the bat is that we have wide margins on the outside and the inside. And this is not normal for a Cameo wide margin. The original design for the Cameo wide margin was to bring the text in and have a wider margin out here. This has an inch margin on all sides. The inner margin is a little bit more difficult to get into because of that, but it is usable. I like it. And red letter. Now that's nothing new as far as cameos. We've had those in red letter for quite a while. I've done some notes. Really good paper for notes. The paper is, like I said, around mid-30s in GSM. It does have a slight glare under direct light. Now, when I'm talking about direct light, I'm talking about if you're sitting under a desk light shining right onto the page, or if you have a book light shining directly. Now, I'm under a light here. I have fluorescent light above me, and I don't see any glare on this. Now, another thing this does differently than any other Cambridge Cameo that I've seen is red letter in the book of Revelation. The black letter is an 8-point font. Black and red, both are 8-point actually, but the black letter is a 8 point with around an 8.5 leading. That counts the spaces between the lines, so you have about a half point between the lines. So combined, you have 8.5 point. But it's a good bold red. They really mean it when they call it a red letter. I like that good bold red. That's easy to see. Really easy to see. If I can remember the name of the font, that is a Petite Medieval Clarendon. That was the word I was looking for a minute ago. Petite Medieval Clarendon. Now, what else does this thing have? It has pages in the back for notes, but only 4 pages. I wouldn't mind having a lot of pages back here. It doesn't have a concordance. I'd like to have that number of pages for notes. These are the Cambridge maps that were the generation before the current generation. So they're not that old. They're really nice. This is thick paper. It includes the index. The current edition that Cambridge uses is a color-coded index. This is not a color-coded index. This is one previous to that. 8-page index, which I like the fact that you have a map index. It helps you find the things really easy. I like these colors. They're a little bolder than I like. I lean toward the little bit not quite as bright. Some of the text is a little bit too bold to read well for me, in my opinion. But it is really, really well done. Here's what I was looking for. Some of that's kind of hard to see. And some more pages back there, and that's it. Edge line, you can, really, really good cover. You can do anything you want to with that. Art gilt edges. $65 for this thing. That is a good deal. I'm more impressed with it than I expected to be. I like the idea of having this inner margin. It is a little more difficult to get in there and write your notes, but you can get some notes in there. You can get your references, little word studies, or whatever you need. So let's take a look at a couple of comparisons here. Take a look at a comparison. That's a good one. Let's go to the book of Psalms. And what I want to compare to first is a normal, standard Cameo. Quite a bit thinner. This is a goat skin. Beautiful, beautiful Bible. I like that Bible. Easy Bible to carry. This is easy to carry too. I mean, that's a good Bible. So we've got Book of Psalms. Move things around, do some shuffling. Give you an idea of the size. The font size is exactly the same. This is this page. They're the same pagination, the same size exactly. This one's a little bolder. The Cambridge is a little bit bolder. The paper's thinner. I don't know what that is. Probably 28 or less. I'm just guessing. I don't know. But both are really nice. This one is also a red letter. Go back to Mark here. I did not do this right. I like to pick it from the corner. It's easier to turn if I do that for me. So there's Mark. And you can see this is bolder, gives it a little bit more show through. This doesn't have a whole lot of show through. It depends on the lighting. Some lighting looks really bad. Some lighting you don't hardly see any show through at all. This is a little bit more cream color. You can see the color of the paper by looking in the gutter. Cream, white. This is a white tint paper. Quite a bit darker art gilt than this is. I don't care one way or the other. I like art gilt regardless. But that's the actual Cambridge Cameo. Just to show you that it is the same pagination. It is the same size of a page. Let's take a look at this one. This is the local church Bible Publishers 120, which is also a Cameo 120. This one is the standard Cameo design, which means it has no inner margin and 1.5 inches on the outside rather than the inch on here. Many prefer this style because if you can't get notes in here anyway, it's difficult to deal with. So that, you can write bullets out here, or you can write a number and refer it. Some prefer to have this style because it's there. You don't have to figure it out. It's just there. This is easier a little bit for things like bullets, for sermons or something along that line. So if you want to put a sermon outline in the margin, that's easy to deal with. Now this one is a black letter. They both have a good dark font. Both of these Bibles do. Look really nice. Paper's slightly different. This one's been water damaged, so it's kind of hard to compare that, but that's got the older maps, and this has a concordance. One thing I like about this concordance, though, you can write definitions out next to this. Get a lot of information there. That's a good Bible, too. I like that one. Well made. Well, good design. All right, now let's compare to an actual Cambridge. And you'll see a major difference between the two. Thickness is about the same. This one has a concordance. This is actually looks thicker because of that. Because of the, I did that yesterday in the car. Because of the spine being thicker. But they're very close. Alright, I bought this one used at a bookstore. This one and the local church publishers has margin at the top, whereas the original Cambridge does not. This has a lot thicker paper, a lot cleaner paper, that's good paper. That has no glare under direct light. I mean, that's a really good paper, but it's probably not available anymore. And if it was, it'd be expensive. For the money, this is good paper. Both have dark fonts. This is a little harder to read, actually. Even though this is a dark font, and I do prefer dark fonts. This is a dark font also, and they're about the same. But this having not as much contrast as this, the dark on the white paper is a little easier to read than the dark on the yellowed paper. And I'm not so sure that's not just yellowed because of age. I don't know, it's just guessing. And let's go to Mark. Black letter. Now what this one has, it's got the concordance. And then it's got the really old maps. This is even older than the other. The same style maps from the older edition. It's a good Bible too. These are just hard to find. Really, really hard to find. That's a good size though for carry. If you're a preacher or something like that, walking around things. Walking around preaching. And the last one I want to compare to is the Cambridge Concord. Because we're talking about wide margin editions. The Cambridge Concord actually is probably your next best choice. Because we're talking about Cambridge editions. And we're talking about good writing paper and all that. There's the size we've got. The Cambridge is thicker. The Concord is quite a bit thicker. If I can set this up so it's easy to see. Quite a bit thicker. The Concord, can't really tell by looking. I didn't bring my scale. I have a topography scale. Typography, not topography. A typography scale. And if you set up your typography scale and you compare these two, you'll see that the Concord has a very slightly larger font than the Cameo. This is an 8 point, that's like an 8.2, something along that line. Looking at them, it's hard to tell the difference as far as the font size. This has more space between the lines, so this is going to have a larger leading than this does. This also has a cleaner text because you don't have your reference keys in the text like this does. They're both hand set, but this is set in the 50s, this is set in the 20s. This one will have some closer and some further away. You see some extra spaces, more than this one will. Very few spaces verses have little extra spaces. Even fewer are too close together. This one, every now and then we'll get a couple of words that are really close, but it's not bad. Not at all. Not enough really to care. And the Concord is a black letter. Now the Concord has better paper. This is a 38 GSM. I don't remember exactly which one, but that's writing paper made for notes. This one's not necessarily that same quality of writing, but this is good paper for writing. But I do like my Concord. Yeah, I'm not written in it yet, but I have another one that I have. So, and I'm writing in this one. I'm taking notes in this thing. This is a good choice. This is good for preaching, sitting on your pulpit. It's good for study at your desk. It's not necessarily a Bible I would want to carry if I'm a preaching evangelist or something like that, and I'm going preaching somewhere. I don't know that I would carry that. I've done it, and about regretted it when I did. This I can carry. I can take that on visitations. I can take this to home Bible studies. I can take that just when I'm visiting someone, visiting a church. I can take this and carry it with me. That's no problem at all to carry this one. I'm going to use this one for a while. Put some notes in here. I got some more pens coming. That note that I made there, real quick, and then I'm done. I made with an 05 pigment micron, and it's a little bit too thick of a tip, so I have ordered an 01. I think it's just 01. So I'm going to continue with my colors. I'm color code crazy. But I'm going to continue with the colors. I'm not necessarily going to mark in the text itself. I'm going to mark in the notes here, and that's good enough for me. But I'm going to use the 01s. It's either an 01 or 001. I'll add it to the notes. But you can see pictures of this on BibleBuyingGuide.com, and you can order this from ChurchBiblePublishers.com. I'll put a link in the notes. And like I said, this one is the Iron Castigan. I like it a lot. Really good Bible.